Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please give your confirmations now on the chat box, please. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your confirmations. Let us stop the chat. Thank you very much for your confirmations. Yes, thank you very much. Let us stop the chat. Let us stop the chat. Okay, so I welcome you all to the first session of this particular batch, that is DevOps on AWS. Okay, thank you all for joining. So let's have an introduction about myself. First, we'll have introduction about myself and participants, those who want to speak. Let's have interaction with the participants, and then we will get into the concept of DevOps. So this is Sunil Kopavarapu. I have total 11 years of experience in the IT industry. 4 years of experience I have it in Oracle applications platform. First 4 years I worked in Oracle applications as a techno-functional consultant. And then I have shifted from Oracle applications to AWS and DevOps Cloud. I have total 6 years of experience in AWS and DevOps Cloud, and I'm providing online training from more than 7 years. And I'm based out of Hyderabad. Okay, so this is about quick introduction about myself. Participants, those who want to speak, please raise your hand. Participants, those who want to speak, please raise your hand. So please mention your name, you're from which location, your experience if you have any experience, and main reason why are you planning to learn DevOps. Okay, starting with the Amresh. How are you doing, Amresh? Good morning. You are now allowed to unmute.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, Amresh. How are you doing?
Sir, fine. Sir, myself, Suresh, and I'm from the Indian Air Force, working at System Engine and so many domains in Air Force.
Your
For
volume,
last
no, no, I'm sorry, you're from Indian Air Force.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'm having, sir, 10 plus years of experience in different domains of IT. Because, sir, in defense, you have to touch approx on the thing. Quality of work is not there, but we have to touch approx everything.
Okay,
But
so
majorly, sir, I have worked in as a system admin in the web application developer.
web application.
And web application developer, and sir, hosting of a very small team, because if I work in server, then I have to create the application, hosting the SAM, I have to
Okay.
maintain the physical server and all. Sir, within 3 to 4 months, I am going to retire from
Oh,
actually the total sir experience in India Force is 20 years, but for in IT domain it's 10 years, for 10 years.
so
But sir, after
in Indian Air Force, you have total 20 years of experience, and last 10 years you worked in IT domain, IT
yes, sir.
industry. Now within 3 to 4 months, you're
Yeah,
going to
sir,
retire.
in the month of June, 30th June, sir, I'm going to
Oh,
retire
okay.
from
Okay.
service. So, sir, last year, sir, I've decided that whatever concept using for DevOps and cloud, that is somewhere, sir, there in my domain. So, core concept of this are there in my domain. So, I decided to go in this field.
Okay.
And I have, sir, studied 4 to 5 tools of DevOps on YouTube. And I started given this interview for DevOps. Sir, my main motto to join this course is, for example, sir, I think 1 month back, I given an interview, and in that, 2 assignments were given to me. Because gone through the course, and I told him that I'm having an approx 2 years of experience. Because, sir, GitHub and Git, these are two tools which are being used in my field. So he was an effective member of that particular group. But as this told interview that I'm having years of experience, they told me theoretical questions, and I want to give the answer of theoretical question. So
Okay.
when the matter comes for practical, and sir, if you allow me, then I will read out an assignment. If I want to know that okay, completion of this course, will we be able to do the assignment like this, which are being asked by interviewer in the from the course.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So can I read out the sort of
No,
assignment?
no. Sorry, please do not read out because we have fixed time. So please send an email to this support@logiclabstechnologies.com. Okay, Amrish. I'll check the level of the assignment and reply to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please drop your hand once you're done with your interaction. How are you doing, Franklin? Good evening for you.
Good evening, Sunil. My name is Franklin Biakab. I'm joining from the US. Actually, I've joined. I'm an Oracle database administrator, so I'm trying to go into cloud. I've learned a solution architect already, so I just want to make like make DevOps as a complement to be able to be more marketable. So I've joined your class before, but my schedule was not allowing me to stick to the class. But this time around, I'll stick to the class. And thank you so much for making this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This timing is feasible for you, isn't it, Franklin?
It is, sir. It is. It is.
Okay, thank you very much. This time you complete the entire course, Franklin. So, how was the feedback of the batch which you have attended from me, the DevOps?
Oh, the materials are very clear. Honestly, materials are very clear. I bought some classes on the Logitech. Yes, I bought some class on Logitech. I'm trying to work on it. I bought Python and I bought DevOps, and so now with these two classes live, I think
Perfect.
I'll try to
You'll be ready to get hired. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Pragnesh. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Welcome to the session, Pragnesh. Good morning. Your location, your experience.
Sir, my name is Pragnesh Dimmer and I'm from Gujarat, Surat location. I have overall 11 year of experience in IT industry, and I'm doing end user support in technology. I want to move in DevOps technology. Okay, and I have cleared AWS Solution Architect Associate.
Very good. Congratulations. Now you are in the right track. Having AWS certification and now DevOps skills with your experience, definitely you can get into the DevOps role. Okay.
Okay, but sir, I don't have a relevant experience in cloud or DevOps.
No problem. No problem. We will help you to prepare the resume. What kind of roles and responsibilities you need to place? Isn't it, Prakash? Okay. Let's say you have 11 years of experience, right?
Yes, yes.
So 8 years of experience, you have to mention your actual role. Okay.
Okay.
And the latest 3 years of experience, you have to mention it in AWS and DevOps. Okay. That's how you have to prepare the resume.
Okay.
So what are the roles and responsibilities needs to be presented for this 3 years of experience? We'll guide you. Okay. So once you create your resume, market is very good, as you know, for AWS and DevOps, isn't it, Pragnesh?
Yes.
So once you create your resume and put it in the market, you can start receiving the calls. If you are perfect in whatever we are learning, you'll be cleared. Okay.
Okay.
We have a lot
Sure.
of. How do you came to know about this institute?
Actually, I'm part of one of your courses.
Which course?
Python. So
Okay.
yes, I got to know.
Good. Yeah. Thank you, Pragnesh.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Please drop your hand once you are done with your question. Naveen Kumar.
Hi, Sunil. Good morning.
Good morning, Naveen.
Yeah, I'm from Canada, so I have 12 years of experience in IT industry. Initially, I worked as a middleware engineer. So then I recently moved to DevOps.
So you already are working in DevOps now?
Yeah, from the last 1 year, but not up to the core, but only BAU. So only BA business as usual we are working on.
Okay.
So I want to increase my knowledge a little more.
Good.
So
you have no experience with the core tools like Jenkins, Docker, Ansible.
Yeah, I have already started using them. So we are using Jenkins for the deployments.
Very good.
Yeah, for the jobs, right? So for we are generating Cucumber jobs, but still I wanted to enhance.
Okay.
So parallelly, I have registered for AWS as well. So I don't have any knowledge. So do you think will that help studying
Definitely.
AWS and DevOps parallelly?
Definitely having, you can do parallelly or you can do one after the other. basing on your availability, your comfortability. Yes, but definitely skills on AWS is mandatory now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are, but my environment are already have Jenkins and everything. So like Docker and everything we have. How do I know? How do I find like whether is this AWS DevOps or Azure DevOps? How to find that? Is there anything different? Like
Now, all these
a
environments, what
generic
you're,
DevOps?
no, all these environments, whatever you're experiencing in your working experience, is it on, is it on AWS cloud? Did you give you the information?
No, that I don't know.
Okay, okay. No, the tool behaves the same, Naveen, irrespective whether the Jenkins is installed in AWS or Jenkins is installed in Azure. Same the case with Docker and Ansible. Okay. So once you are strong in the DevOps tool, it does not make any difference on whichever the cloud platform it is. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Rabia, good morning. I think you have joined very early, half an hour before the scheduled time. How are you doing?
Oh, hi. This is Rabia. I'm good. Thank you. I'm from US. So this is my first course in here in your, I mean,
Organization, yeah, institute.
yeah, your institution.
How do you
So
do this?
one of my friend actually, he forwarded to me. He's from India.
He's also working in DevOps.
No, he's not. He also learning AWS itself, the own place.
Mhm.
So yeah, because of the timing is not suitable for me. I tried to join the other classes, but I didn't. This time is perfect for me. So I thought we'll join.
Okay, may I know your experience?
I have some experience in testing tools.
Okay, okay. Now you want to get
Yeah,
into
automation.
DevOps. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. My dear participants, we cannot talk with everybody, so I'm randomly picking up some of the participants. And then after a couple of interactions, we will get into the concept. Julius, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing well, thank you.
Great. Yeah, I'm from Texas, United States. I joined your program a couple of months ago for AWS, but the schedule was not really convenient for me, so I had to stop at some point. And I have 11 years IT experience. I've worked with SQL, big data, and currently working with GCP
Okay.
for 3 years now. My goal is to learn AWS, Python, and DevOps, which those are areas that I'm actually lacking, and I would like to. I see that if I probably just jump into this DevOps, it's like putting the cart before the horse.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, so that is it about me.
Yes, thank you for joining, Julius. I'm sure after learning this, after completing this course, definitely these skill sets will add value to your profile and you'll have a better opportunities. Okay.
Do you think I should start with AWS or just jump on DevOps on AWS?
You can start DevOps first and later you can learn AWS. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so you can do anyway. So first people learn DevOps first and then AWS. People learn AWS and then DevOps. But finally you have to learn both. Okay. Yeah. So as you already are exposed towards GCP, learning AWS will be pretty easy. Okay. Okay, Julius. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Satya.
Hi, Sunil. This is Satya. I have total of 12 plus years of experience. Currently, I'm working as a cloud program manager. It's a non-technical role and more of program management. But
Okay.
get my hands dirty on technical stuff as well. Because I mean, you just can't be a non-tech program manager. But if you
Correct.
really excel at your work, you got to do both. You got to know some bits of tech and some bits of non-tech.
Okay.
And I'm already a part of your AWS 118 batch.
Oh, long back, I think so, right?
No. This one, the one that is currently happening from 9 to 10.
Okay, Mr. Ankit Narula.
Yeah, Ankit, yes. Okay. Only one question is like, I mean, how much of programming experience is required for DevOps?
Very little, very little. Okay, we write very little YAML coding, so no much of programming experience because DevOps role is completely different from a programmer role. Here we will not develop any applications, isn't it? We help in automation in the software development lifecycle. So very minimum programming is required in DevOps.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Satya. Your location?
From Bangalore.
Okay, thank you. Ferdinand.
Hi.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm located in Canada. I have over 7 years of experience within the IT. I actually worked as a cybersecurity analyst, and I've done these courses before, both AWS DevOps and the AWS itself. So the reason I'm here is just because I want to get a refresher of all. I actually haven't had time to work as a DevOps engineer because I was focused on cybersecurity. So I thought this time I could get a refresher of everything and then make a career within the DevOps field.
Very good, very good. So cybersecurity is always in demand, isn't it? So how do you know this institute?
I'm part of an AWS group, and that I think these flyers came to it, and then I had to follow up from there. That's
Good.
why I'm here today.
Thank you, Ferd. I hope you will enjoy the training. Okay. Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, my dear participants, final call before moving on to today's session. Mr. Ajay.
Yeah, good morning, Sulin.
Welcome, Ajay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Actually, previously I've joined only 5 days class I was attended and could not continue due to personal reasons. So this time I've joined to planning to continue post day.
Very good. So is the timing so feasible now? 6 o'clock morning in India?
Yes. Though I was working on night shift yesterday, this week I'll be night shift. From next week onward, as usual, morning shift I can manage.
Okay, good. In case you miss a particular session, you can take the advantage of recording, isn't it? Because as you know, we record every session. In case if you miss a particular session, I recommend you to play the recording so that you can be catching up for the next session. Okay.
Sure, definitely.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you very much. So thank you all. Thank you for the interaction. We cannot speak with all the participants. We had a random introduction with some of the participants. Let's get into today's concept. If you look at the title of the course, it is DevOps on AWS. That's very, very important. So if you look at the title, as I have mentioned on the screen, what we are learning is DevOps on AWS platform. Okay, so DevOps is a collection of tools. Okay, so DevOps is a collection of tools. So what are the list of tools which we will be covering in DevOps? Anyways, I'll show you in the PowerPoint slide, but it is collection of tools. All those tools, if we experience in AWS environment, that's called DevOps on AWS. The same set of tools we can also learn on Microsoft Azure. In such case, it is called DevOps on Azure, or people call it as Azure DevOps. The same set of tools remains the same, but if you work it out on Azure platform, it is called as Azure DevOps. With the same set of tools, if we learn it on AWS, we call it as AWS DevOps. Okay, the same set of tools, if you learn it on GCP, it is called as GCP DevOps engineer. So the tools behaves the same, the tools remains the same, but On which platform you are learning is makes the changes in the title. So this, I'm very clear. So all this set of tools which we are learning in DevOps in this particular course, we'll be installing it when we'll be working on the AWS environment. So that's the reason I have mentioned this as DevOps on AWS. Okay, I hope I'm very clear. Okay. First question as a learner comes to your mind is, what is DevOps? Obviously, the first question that comes to your mind, isn't it? The first question that comes to your mind is, what is DevOps? To be very clear with this term called DevOps, let's have a discussion about SDLC. Before getting into the concept of DevOps, let's spend some time understanding SDLC. Before understanding DevOps, let's spend some time understanding software development lifecycle. Once you are clear with the software development lifecycle, let's have an interaction and in understanding about software development lifecycle, and then we'll get into the actual concept called DevOps. Now, what do you mean by software development? SDLC stands for software development lifecycle. Okay, please look at this. Typically in the industry, you have a client. Assuming a banking client, assuming a banking client called an ICICI Bank. Just assume you have a client. You have a software development companies, is it? Like Infosys or IBM or whatever it is. Any company. It can be any company. Typically, clients will give the requirements to the software development companies. Agree? Clients will give the requirement to the software development company. Assuming the ICICI Bank is a client and they need an internet banking application to their customers, so that's the requirement. So generally, typically clients gives the requirements to software development companies. Software development companies takes the requirements, clearly understands the client requirements, and deliver the product to that particular client. This is what happens in the IT industry. Am I right? Perfect. You have a client, you have a software development company, client gives the requirement to the company, so they build their application or product and they deliver it to the client. This is typically what happens in the IT industry. Am I right? We all know it. The moment software companies like Infosys or Wipro or IBM or Microsoft, whatever it is, so once they receive the requirements from the client, once they receive the requirements from the client, they cannot develop an application in ad hoc manner. There is a streamlined professional approach of building an application. There's an approach. There is a streamlined professional approach of building an application. You cannot build in an ad hoc manner. You have to follow a step-by-step approach. A streamlined professional approach, right from receiving the requirements from the client and delivering the product to the client, that step-by-step process is nothing but called as SDLC, stands for software development lifecycle. A documented approach, right from receiving the requirements from the client and delivering the product to the client. A streamlined approach in building an application and delivering it to the client is nothing but called as software development lifecycle. Okay, look at this. That's, in this particular approaches, there are different models available. There are different ways of building an application as per the client requirement and delivering it. There are different ways. As in civil industry, there are different ways of building in constructing a particular building and delivering it. As in civil industry, there are different ways of building constructing a particular building and delivering it. In the same way, especially in the IT industry, there are several ways in which you can build a particular application. Different approaches are nothing but different models. So there are several models available in software development lifecycle. The first model is waterfall model. One of the first and the oldest model in the software development lifecycle is waterfall model. And then we have agile model, which is very popular now. We have spiral model. We have V model. There are several models. There are several approaches. There are several ways of building an application and delivering it to it. I want to restrict myself with two models. I want to restrict this with this particular two models. I want to discuss about the waterfall model, how the application is built from the waterfall model, based on the waterfall model, which is one of the most important, widely used model, probably a couple of decades back, but not now. So I want to have an introduction about waterfall model and just show you how exactly application is developed using waterfall model, and then we'll have a discussion about agile model. One of the most widely used model in the current industry is agile model, very highly successful. I want to discuss about waterfall model. Waterfall model is suffering with some disadvantages. Let's have an understanding about the disadvantages, and then we'll also learn about agile model. Once we are familiar with the two models on a high level, then we will get into the core concept of DevOps. Okay, so how waterfall model looks like. So let's limit ourselves with respect to two models. One is waterfall model and the other agile model. Look at the way the product is built and delivered using waterfall model. The step-by-step approach, right from receiving the requirements and then acceptance, is nothing but delivering the product to the client. A streamlined approach is called as a waterfall model. If you look at the stages of the waterfall model, the first stage is requirement stage. The first stage is requirement stage. Not only in the waterfall model, every model starts with requirements. Every model starts with requirement stage, isn't it? So one of the most important stage is requirement stage. One of the most important stage is requirement stage. So in this particular requirements stage, there will be frequent meetings, a very regular meetings between the client and the software development companies. It's because it's very important to gather the requirements. If the requirements gathering is wrong, we end up delivering a wrong product. So requirements are very, very critical. It is very important to understand the requirements from the client. It's very, very important to understand the requirements from the client. So in fact, not only waterfall model, every model starts from the requirement stage. So in this particular requirement stage, there will be regular meetings between the client and the software development companies to clearly understand the requirements. Okay. So that's about requirements. Let's say requirements are done. Meetings happen from the ICICI Bank. They need an application. So software company may visit to the client location, understands the requirements. Very good. Once the requirement stage is done, the next stage is analysis. What happens in the analysis stage? The technology components are decided in the analysis stage. The technology components are decided in the analysis stage. What do you mean by technology component? Technology components is nothing but which technology should we use for building an application? Should we use using Java? Or should we use Python for this particular building an application? Okay, or should we use .NET? What technology should we use that decided in the analysis page? Analysis stage. Should we use Oracle database? Should we use Microsoft SQL Server? Or should we use MongoDB? What database component should be used? Coming to middleware, should we use WebLogic? Should we use WebSphere? Should we use JBoss? Should we use Tomcat? What applications are used? Should be used? So technology components are decided in the analysis part. Once the technology components are decided, what is the next stage? As you can see in the screen, the next stage is a design stage. Very, very important stage. That is design stage. What happens in the design stage? The complete project is broken up into modules. The complete project is broken up into modules. For example, assuming a banking client called an ICICI Bank, personal banking, one module, corporate banking, one module, NRI banking, one module, credit cards as one module, customer care is one module, wealth banking is one module, demat and trading account is one module. The complete project is broken up into modules. The entire project is broken up into modules. The data flow diagrams, the user interface, the user experience, the workflows, everything is designed in the design stage. How exactly the user interfaces looks like, how exactly the form looks like, what happens when a particular form is submitted, what workflow should be triggered, where exactly the data is stored, which tables needs to be created. The data flow diagrams, the workflows. So everything is designed in the design stage. So very important part is the design stage. Clear? The first is requirements. The technology components are decided in the design. Technology components are decided in the analysis part. The project is divided into modules and the data flow diagrams, the user interface, user experience, workflows are designed in the design stage. Once the design stage is completed, the next stage is coding part. The next part is coding. Here comes the role of a programmer. Here comes the role of a programmer. If it is a Java technology, it is a Java developer. If it is a Python technology, it's a Python developer. Coding happens, or coding starts once the design has been completed. Here comes the role of a programmer. The programmer takes the requirements from the design team and start developing the code. If it is a Python pages or a Java pages, so they start building an application. Got it? So here comes the role of a programmer. So programmer receives the documents from the design team and start developing the code as per the documents which are reserved for the design team. Perfect. That's the role of a programmer. So that's about coding part. Assuming coding has been completed, application is developed. Okay, my dear friends, once the coding has been completed, let's say application is built. Once the application is built, do we directly deliver it to the client? No. We will test whether the application is perfectly behaving as per the requirement or not. So that is called as testing part. Testing team will jump into action and check whether the application is behaving perfectly. The different ways of testing. They check whether the application is behaving perfectly or not as per the requirement. That's called as testing part. Assuming testing is positive. Assume testing is positive. Okay, so in such case, what we do, obviously we deliver the product to the client and the client will start accepting the particular product and using it live. This way of building an application and delivering it to the client is called as what model? Waterfall model. Is it very simple, very straightforward and very clear. One of the first model in the software development lifecycle is waterfall model. First of its kind. Before waterfall model, there is no approach at all. The first approach, the first professional approach in the IT industry, right from accepting the requirements and delivering it to the client, is called as software development lifecycle. And the first model in the SDLC is waterfall model. Waterfall model is highly accepted, probably 2 decades back, 20 years back, one of the widely used model, not now. Because this particular waterfall model is suffering with some drawbacks. It is having some disadvantages. On a high level, let us discuss about the problem with the waterfall model. Once you understand the problem with the waterfall model, you will clearly understand why it is not used. Currently, it is not at all used. Currently, the most widely used model in the industry is agile model. The most successful model as of now is agile. So let us understand the problem with the waterfall model, why the industry is not using the waterfall model, and then we'll be jumping into the agile. Okay. The problem with the waterfall model is there's a lot of dependency between one stage to other stage. There is a lot of dependency between one stage to other stage. What does that mean? Look at this. The coding team will wait for the design team to complete their job. Dependency. Coding team will wait for the design team to complete their job, because in the waterfall model, after completing the first stage, we need to move on to the next stage. The first requirement should be done. So analysis will happen only after requirements. Design should happen only after analysis. Coding should happen only after design. So one resource will wait for the other resource to complete their job. One team will wait for the other team to complete their job. Testing should start only after completing the coding part. Yes, obviously. Testing should happen only after completing the coding, obviously, meaningful. We need to move on stage by stage. One team will wait for the other team to complete their job. Testing team will wait for the coding team to complete the coding part. Coding team will wait for the design team to complete the design part. Design team wait for the analysis. Analysis team will wait for the requirements. So one resource will wait for the other resource to complete their job. This will cause delay in the software development process. It's very, very difficult to meet the deadlines because there's a dependency between one team to other team. Please look at this. Assume that the project manager has given an estimate. Project manager has given an estimate that they need probably 50 resources. Assuming the project manager has given an estimate that they need 50 resources or 50 developers to complete the coding part, and the time duration required is 6 months. So they have given, if they have 50 resources, they can develop that particular coding part in 6 months. So testing team will wait for how many months? 6 months to complete the coding. The entire coding should be completed so that it will be handed over to the testing team. All right. So testing team will wait for the coding team to get completed. So assuming there are 10 testers. So these 10 testers will wait for 6 months altogether to wait for the coding to get completed. And the design team, let's say they need 2 months of time to complete the design part. So look at this. Please look at this. 50 resources will wait for the duration of 2 months to complete the design part. So there's a lot of waiting time. As one team waits for the other team to complete their job, there's a lot of dependency between them. If anything is delayed, the entire resources will not be under productivity. So this will be very, very difficult to meet the deadlines. This is one of the most important problem in the waterfall model is dependency. Okay, one stage as per waterfall model, only after completing the first stage, we need to move on to second stage. After completing the second stage, we need a stage by stage approach. That's called as waterfall model. Second problem with the waterfall model, the first problem is dependency. The problem with the second important problem in the waterfall model is, in the waterfall model, the requirements are freezed. The requirements are freezed. And this particular model does not encourage the clients to give new requirements. The requirements are freezed. When client wants to give the new requirements, no, this particular model does not encourage the client to for the new requirements. Assuming the requirements are freezed on January 1st, 23. Assuming the requirements are completed, requirement stage is completed by 1st January 23. Maybe after a couple of months, when the client wants to add on some additional requirements, no, this model does not encourage the client to give new requirements. As per the requirements freezed on 1st January, analysis happens, design happens, coding happens, testing happens. And we deliver the product as per the regular requirements on 1st January 23. Let's say when client wants to change the requirements or modify the requirements after a couple of months, no, it's not possible. Freezed, which is not at all suitable in the current industry. Okay, so current industry, the business is very dynamic, clients are very dynamic. Clients keeps on changing the requirements. Your model should be robust and flexible in such a way that it should add the new requirements and deliver the new requirements in the next sprint. So these are the main problems with the waterfall model. So because of which it is not currently suitable as per the current industry. Am I right? Perfect, isn't it? So these are the two important problems with the waterfall model. One is dependency between one team to other team, which is causing the delay. The second main problem is this waterfall model is not suitable for clients who are changing the requirements very frequently. Okay, please have a look at this. It is very difficult to estimate the time cost of each phase in the development process. Once an application is in testing stage, it is very difficult to go back and change something which is not in the concept stage. So it's very difficult to go there's no concept of going back. There's no concept of going back. It's not suitable for good and complex oriented projects. It's not suitable for projects where the requirements are at a moderate to high risk of changing. When clients are in such a way that they're changing the requirements very, very frequently, then waterfall model is not at all suitable for those kind of clients. And now the industry is in such a way that the clients are frequently changing the requirements. There's no concept of going back and changing. There's no concept of going back. We need to move forward in the waterfall model. Why they named it as waterfall? Like how waterfall moves from waterfall model moves from waterfalls from top to bottom. In the same way, we need to move forward. At the coding part, when coding has been started, there's no concept of changing the design. Designs are freezed. The design team, once they freeze it, they should not change the designs. So there's no concept of going back and changing. We need to move forward. That's the waterfall model. Clear about this? So this is the main problems in the waterfall model, because of which currently the waterfall model is not at all used. Okay, now let's move on to the next model called as an agile model. Agile model is completely different from the waterfall model. Okay, the way the application is built, the way the manpower is managed, the resources are managed, is completely different in the agile model. Agile model is completely flexible, encourages the clients to give new requirements. So let's learn more about agile model. Look at this terminology. Agile model is called as incremental model. Look at the terminology, it's very, very important. The software is developed in incremental and rapid cycles. Terminology is very important. This results in small incremental releases, which each release building on its previous functionality. Each release thoroughly tested and software quality is maintained. So look at this incremental, evolutionary. Agile model, it emphasizes on iterative. It is an iterative model, incremental and evolutionary development. Let's try to understand what do you mean by iterative, what do you mean by incremental, what do you mean by evolutionary development, what do you mean by small incremental releases, what do you mean by rapid cycles. All this, let's make our concept easy to understand. Now let's understand how exactly agile model works. Okay. Now this is our client. As I have mentioned, assume that ICICI Bank is a client. They need this kind of internet banking application where you have personal banking, privileged banking, wealth banking, private banking, NRI banking, isn't it? Business banking. There's a lot of, this is the requirements, right? Okay. This is what the application they are expecting. Point is, how, let's start with waterfall model. How waterfall model works. As I mentioned, the first stage is requirements. Am I right? The first stage is requirement stage. What happens in the waterfall model? There will be regular meetings with the client. They take the requirements of personal banking. The company, software development companies take the requirements of privileged banking, wealth banking, private banking, NRI banking, business banking, small and medium enterprise, corporate banking. They take the requirements of all the modules. Once they complete the requirements of the modules, then they declare that the requirement stage has been completed. This is how waterfall model works. They take the requirements of module 1, requirements of module 2, module 3, module 4, module 10. Once they take the requirements of all the 10 modules, now they declare that the requirement stage has been completed. This is how the waterfall model works. After requirement, the analysis part is all about technology components. Technology components are not specific to module. Next, the design stage. After analysis, design stage. So what happens in the design stage? They design the user interfaces, user experience, workflows of personal banking. Design happens for privileged banking. Design happens for wealth banking, private banking, NRI banking, business banking. So they design all the modules, and then they declare that the design has been completed. And then coding team will jump into action. Developers will complete the coding for privileged banking. Every team has given one module. Personal banking, privileged banking, wealth banking, private banking, NRI banking. So they develop the code for all the modules and they declare that the coding has been completed. The testing team will jump into action. They test all the modules and they say that the testing has been completed. Assume everything is positive. Assuming the application is perfectly working, they deliver the entire application at once. This is what happens in the which model? Waterfall model. Stage by stage. This is what happens in the waterfall model. Whereas if you compare with the agile model, it's completely different. The way application is built in the agile model is completely different. On a high level, please try to understand how agile model is different. In the agile model, requirements team will take the requirements of personal banking. That's all. Personal banking. Assuming requirements gathering is completed. Requirements gathering is completed. Requirements team will move to the next module, privileged banking. Requirements team will move to second module. Once the requirements team will move to second module, okay, analysis happens irrespective of the module. Next team is design team. Design team will start designing the personal banking. Design team will jump into action. As one module is ready with the requirements, design team will start designing the module. So you are putting two teams in action. So requirements team busy with taking the requirements of privileged banking. Design team started designing the personal banking. Look at the next iteration. Assuming requirements gathering is completed for module 2, so requirements team will move on to module 3. So requirements team busy with taking the module 3. Design team, assuming the design has been completed, design team will be busy designing the second module. Coding team will be busy. They start developing the code for first module. Are you understanding, my dear friends? The complete workforce is in action. This is how the agile model works. In the next iteration, requirements team busy with taking the requirements of private banking, design team designing the wealth banking, coding team, assuming the coding has been, first module has been completed, coding team coding for the privileged banking, and by this time testing team, as coding has been completed, they will be testing the module 1. All the workflows is in action. Next iteration, design team will busy taking the NRI banking, requirements team taking the requirements of NRI module, design team designing the private banking, coding team working on the wealth banking, testing team is testing the privileged banking. Assuming the testing of the first module is completed, we deliver the first module to the client. That's it. We deliver the first module to the client. At least client is happy. They can experience how exactly the first module is working on. They can go for a user acceptance testing. That's how the agile model is worked. There's no hard and fast rule that the entire project should be delivered at once, unlike waterfall model. Software is developed in evolutionary manner. Incremental approach. Are you understanding the terminology, my dear friends? At least client are happy instead of waiting for an infinite time. At least client is happy because they're experiencing one module. And we will give a deadline, probably next month we'll be delivering the second module. Module by module, incremental approach. And you are making the entire workflows to work instead of breaking you are breaking up the dependency by making your entire workforce in action. Am I clear, my dear friends? How exactly the agile model is different? Please respond in the chat box. Am I clear? How the agile model is robust, flexible when compared to the waterfall model. The complete workforce is in action. When the complete workforce is in action, you can easily meet the deadlines. You can easily meet the deadlines. Every team is busy with that particular module. And the agile model is robust, encourages the clients to give the new requirements. Thank you very much for your responses in the chat box. Encourages the clients to give the new requirements. Let's say the personal banking clients are experiencing personal banking, they need some modifications, and yes, the cycle will be repeated. Requirements to quickly repeat the version. They take the new requirements, the new design, new code, new test, and deliver it again. One more release. What's there in it? Next version of a particular module. So when compared to waterfall model, agile model, you can easily meet the deadlines, and it encourages the clients to give the new requirements, which is completely suitable as per the current industry. So agile model is most widely used model in the current industry. This is how the agile model works. So in compared to waterfall model, let's say waterfall model, using the waterfall model, a particular product is delivered in 2 years, assuming the 2 years is the time required to develop an application in case of waterfall model. The same product with same quality, you can develop it in agile model in just 1 year. Such a faster rate, agile model works when compared to waterfall model. In case of assuming, and it's much more faster than that, assuming a product to be built on waterfall model takes 2 years, the same product with same quality, you can develop it in just 1 year if agile model is in action. So such a flexible model, such a widely used model in the industry is agile model. I hope you have understood the advantage of the agile model. Now, you may have a question. Sunil, our course is DevOps. Okay. So again, coming back to the question, what is DevOps? The point is, now the industry is in such a way that clients are not even ready to wait for 1 year long. When compared to waterfall model, agile model is fast enough. But now, clients are not ready to wait for 1 year long. Clients are giving the requirements now, and they want the product to be delivered in just 3 months. Let's say clients gives the requirements on this particular month, and they want that their product to be delivered in next 3 months. At such a faster rate, clients are expecting their application to be built and delivered. When compared to the agile waterfall model is speed enough. But now even agile model is not at all sufficient, because they want that applications to be delivered at much more faster rate. So we need a catalyst. So there comes the role for a DevOps. Okay, so when you want the applications to be delivered in much more faster rates with same quality, top 50 IT companies have done a research work for a period of 5 years. Have done a research work for a period of 5 years to understand the delay, just to understand the term called delay. The top 50 IT companies have done a research work for 5 years just to understand the delay in the software development process, irrespective if it is waterfall model or agile model or a V model or a spiral model. There are several models, irrespective of whatever the model the client is implementing, but still they are experiencing the delay in the software development process. And they have done a research work to understand why there is a problem, why there is a delay in the software development process. Okay. In spite of any model the software development companies are implementing, still they are experiencing the delay in the software development process. After doing a research work for understanding the term called delay, then they came with an interesting fact. The fact is the reason for the delay in the software development process, even though you are using agile model or any other model in future, The main problem, main cause for the delay in the software development process is the statement. This is the particular statement. The main reason is the gap between development team and operations team. This causes the delay in the software development process. After doing a research work, they came with a particular statement. The reasons for the delay is the gap between development team and operations team. Now it's our responsibility to understand this particular statement. What do you mean by gap between? What do you mean by gap between development team and operations team? If you want to know this, if you want to clearly understand this statement, you have to clearly understand two important terminologies. What is development team and what is operations team? If we are clear with these two teams, what is development team and what is operations team, then this statement will be very clear for us. Now let's try to understand what you mean by development team. Development team, Sunil, it's pretty obvious, isn't it, my dear parents? Development team is not a group of developers. As simple. Yes, you are right. Development team is very easy to visualize. Development team is group of developers. If a group of Python developers are called as a development team, group of Java developers is called as a development team. So development team responsibility is to develop the code as per the requirements. Yes, very simple. No doubt, it's very clear to understand the concept of development team. So let's try to understand the operations team, which is very, very important. What is operations team? Development team, we can easily visualize the group of developers. They start developing the code. They develop the code as per the requirements. Very good. We know it. Let's understand about operations team. What is operations team? What are the roles and responsibilities of an operations team? What will be their activities? Okay. So especially already participants who are having work experience, they can easily understand the operations team. So let's spend some time understanding the operations team. What is operations team? What will be the roles and responsibilities in operations team? Let's try to understand. Assuming a small software company which is having 100 employees, isn't it? Assuming a small software company of how many employees? Assuming a small company of how many employees? 100 employees. Visualize a small software company of 100 employees. 100 billable resources. Don't consider staff. 100 billable resources working for a particular client. One company of 100 employees. Right from first employee to the last employee, do you think everybody is a developer? Try to understand, my dear participants. Assuming a small company of 100 employees, do you think everybody is a developer? No, it's not the case. It is not at all the case. Please don't be under impression that every person working in the IT industry is a developer. No. Very big software companies like Infosys, Wipro, Giants, like Microsoft, when they boast that when they're having 100,000 employees worldwide, do you think every employee is a developer? No. Please don't be under impression that every person working in the IT industry is a developer. It's not the case. In our example, if there are 100 employees, probably 50 employees are developers. Assume that 50 employees are developers. Okay. There are other set of people, the rest of 50 employees who are not developers. Okay. They're not developers. Okay. Next question that comes to your mind. Sunil, if there are 50 employees who are not developers, then what are they? What are their responsibilities? You cannot underestimate this non-development team. They're critical. You cannot ignore them. They're very, very critical. They're very, very important. Equally important to development team. You cannot ignore them. You cannot underestimate them. These set of people who belongs to non-development team are also very important. They are very critical and billable also. These set of people who are belonging to non-development team, these set of people are called as, on a high level, especially in DevOps methodology, it is called as operations team. Okay, So you have development team and you have some resources. They're very important. They're also available, but they do not develop the code. They are called as non-development team is called as operations team. Okay, so let's try to understand what are the responsibilities of this set of people who are not belonging to developers, but they are very, very billable and very, very important or very critical. So let's try to understand those team is called as operations team. So let's try to understand the roles and responsibilities of an operations team. Operations team responsibility. It is whose responsibility to install server and install operating system on the server. Do you think a Java developer will install the servers and manage the servers? You will find development server, QA server, production server, isn't it? Do you think the programmers will maintain these servers? You need some resources to manage the servers, isn't it? Yes, they belongs to operations team. Configuring the servers, configuring the networks, configuring the storages, configuring the firewalls, creating networks, monitoring the servers 25/7. Assuming a server is down, happily development team will send a mail saying that servers are not working. It is whose responsibility to monitor and respond to the servers. There should be some set of people who will be working in the background 24/7. Who should respond when there is an outage in the server? It is whose responsibility to maintain cyber security, IT security. It is the responsibility to maintain version controlling, backup and disaster recovery, production support. Once the application goes live, you will find 100,000 issues from the customers. It is whose responsibility to fix these particular issues, understand the issues, document the issues, identify the bugs, send it back to the development team so that they fix it. It's not an easy job. These set of people who are very, very critical runs 24/7 to maintain their servers, to maintain outages, to provide production support, version controlling. These are all responsible. Database administrators, network administrators. So these set of people are called as an operations team. Now, without operations team, development team cannot make any progress at all. They cannot achieve a small milestone without the support of operations team. Operations team are very, very critical. Middleware administrators. Everybody who does not belong to developers, but they are very critical. Middleware administrators, database administrators, network administrators, cloud administrators, disaster recovery, production support executives. So these set of people, you need a lot of manpower to perform these activities, and they're very, very important. So do you think any Java developer or .NET developer or Python developer will perform these actions? Not at all, isn't it? You need resources to do all these actions. So these set of people who does not belong to development team is called as an operations team. Now you understand about the operations team responsibility and importance of the operations team in the IT industry. Now coming back to our statement, the delay is happening because of miscommunication or gap between development team and operations team. I'll give you a simple example. You may have questions. Sunil, can you explain one scenario? What do you mean by gap between development team and operations team? I'll give you a simple requirement. Look at this. Assuming developer working on web application, they're building an application using Java, and they're using MySQL database as a backend. They're building an application using Java and they're using MySQL database as a backend. Now the development team wants to experience how exactly the application is behaving when they change the database from MySQL to Oracle. They want to experience how exactly the application is behaving when they change the backend component from MySQL to Oracle database. So when they want to use Oracle database, it is whose responsibility to provide Oracle server. It is whose responsibility to install Oracle on a particular server and provide that server details to the development team so that they can start creating the tables. It is whose responsibility. You will find an exclusive role called as database administrators, which they belong to operations team. It is a responsibility of the database administrator to create an Oracle instance. Oracle 18 says, so happily development team will send an email saying that we need Oracle instance by tomorrow. So it is whose responsibility to provision the instance. Do you think development team will do that? No. So there should be one person who will be doing it. That becomes the operations team. Any infrastructure requirements will be fulfilled by using the operations team, obviously by the operations team. So development team happily sends an email saying that they need Oracle instance by tomorrow. And operations team will give these kind of responses. Option 1, the skilled resource is not available. The DBA is on leave for a period of 10 days. Either the skilled resource, I'm explaining you the reasons for the delay. Either the skilled resources is not available immediately to provision your requirements, or infrastructure is not available. When the infrastructure is not available, so the operations team will happily mail to the client mail to the development team saying that please do not give ad hoc requirements. Please give us at least 1 week of notice time so that we can provide you the required infrastructure. So because of these reasons, what's happening finally what's happening, irrespective of the reasons, finally what's happening, there is happening of delay. Either the skilled resources are not available, either the infrastructure is not available, which is causing the delay in the software development lifecycle. Clear about this? So always miscommunication, misunderstandings, this gap between development team and the operations team, which causes the delay in the software development lifecycle. Now, to overcome that gap, we have an additional team called DevOps now. To overcome the gap, we have a new team called DevOps now. Traditionally in the IT industry, you'll have only 2 teams. One is development team and operations team. In the IT industry, traditionally there are 2 teams, development team and operations team. People call it as ops team. But when software development companies implement DevOps, DevOps is a methodology. It's a method. When software companies implement DevOps methodology, then there will be 3 teams: development team, DevOps team, and operations team. Are you understanding, my dear friends? How many teams you'll find? 3 teams. You'll find developers, you will find operations team skill set will remain the same. You will now find a DevOps team exclusive. I hope people who are already having working experience, they know now they are experiencing a separate set of people called as DevOps team. The responsibility of the DevOps team is to have collaboration between development team and operations team to speed up the software development lifecycle. The term DevOps has derived from these 2 important terminologies, development and operations. You can see here. The term DevOps is derived from 2 important terms called development team and ops team. Okay, now let's get into the DevOps and its importance. DevOps is a methodology. And almost all the software companies are implementing this DevOps methodology. So that's the reason you find a lot of DevOps openings, DevOps demand in the market now. DevOps is a methodology. What it will do, it will promote collaboration between obviously 2 teams, development team and operations team. This will help in deploying the code into production much more faster and automation. If a company wants to implement automation in the software development process, yes, DevOps is the solution. I hope you have heard nowadays automation is important is implemented in the software development lifecycle. That happens only through DevOps tools. It enables in rapid development of products. Okay, it helps your client to meet the deadlines. So DevOps will help in making your application, making the client's changes or making the client's application to be much more faster. If waterfall model is taking 2 years, agile model is taking 1 year. If the same agile model, if you implement it with DevOps methodology, you can deliver it in just 3 months. It's just 3 months. It's a catalyst which helps in deployment of code into production much more faster way. Perfect. Okay, clear about this? Now, so DevOps is a methodology. As I told you, it's a methodology, and that methodology can be implemented by using tools. DevOps is a methodology, but that can be implemented by using tools. Now I'm listing out the tools what we will be covering in our training course. The prerequisite of DevOps is Linux. Most of the DevOps tools, we install it and we manage it by using Linux commands. So we have to be, as a DevOps engineer, we have to be comfortable with basics of Linux. You don't need to learn in depth of Linux administration. So we'll be spending some couple of sessions understanding the concept of Linux, and then we'll be moving on to first tool of DevOps that is called as Git. Second tool of DevOps that's called as Maven. Then we learn about Jenkins. When Jenkins is a CI/CD tool, which is main important tool for automation. Containerization tool called Docker and Docker Swarm, and then we'll discuss about orchestration tool called as Kubernetes, and we'll discuss about configuration management tool called as Ansible, and we'll discuss monitoring tool Nagios. We'll discuss about infrastructure as code, IAC code tool called as Terraform, and these are the tools which are covered as part of a training course. So these are the DevOps tools. So as a DevOps engineer, if you're aiming for DevOps engineer, you have to be strong in these tools. Using these tools, or we learn how exactly these tools helps in collaboration between the development team and the operations team, and which helps in automation in the software development lifecycle. Clear? So these are the skill sets which are required in the current industry. So we'll be discussing all these tools in our training course. As started today, session starts daily at early morning, 6 o'clock in India, 6 to 7 a.m. and it will be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. Clear about this? Every session is recorded. Every session is recorded, and after the session you get a link. Every session is recorded and you get a link. You will have access to the recordings from the website. Clear about this? Any questions, you can shoot an email to support@logicalabstract.com. Okay, perfect. Yes. So before closing today's session, any questions, please raise your hand. Before moving on, before closing, any questions, please raise your hand. Yes. I've seen many participants raising their hands. Babatunde, how are you doing? It's been a long time.
Yes, it's been a long time. You still remember.
I know.
How are you doing?
Doing good. Thank you, Babat.
Yeah. I just have a question. I mean, I know you said, you can use DevOps tools on different platforms. I'm really just proficient in ServiceNow, and I just wanted to confirm from you if, ServiceNow also have, DevOps.
You are right. But we are not discussing ServiceNow here.
Yeah. I know, but you mentioned something that like it's the same too. I know this is AWS DevOps.
Correct.
And this is AWS. I took AWS with you, and I have the solution architect certification. Yes. I've just been working in finance, and I've actually, I kind of like made up my mind to actually go into DevOps, right? Because I'm with IBM, and I just I work as an express analyst there, but just doing that, I see how much they invest in this stuff. So I kind of like motivates me to actually.
Perfect. If you just add the skill sets in your profile, definitely that will be very helpful for your career in the current industry. Okay, current organizations.
Yes. Okay, that's good to know. I was just kind of, I was just, trying to clarify if, because I wasn't sure if ServiceNow have DevOps or not.
Okay, I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Thank you. Vinay Kumar.
Yeah, hello Sunil. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, total I have 9 years of experience. So why I want to join in this course? Because of I just want to learn DevSecOps.
You want to learn DevSecOps?
So without knowing the DevOps, I cannot able to understand.
Correct. For DevSecOps, the prerequisite is DevOps. First complete the DevOps and then move on to DevSecOps. Okay.
Okay. So, and one more thing. So, may I know, so the DevSecOps will be covered in your institute or what?
Right now, we are not providing DevSecOps. Okay. Maybe in future we may start. Okay. So now DevSecOps is very simple. Implementing security in DevOps is nothing but DevSecOps. Okay. We may start in future. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keshav Rao.
Yeah, Sunil.
Good morning. How is today's
Morning.
session?
Yeah, fine. It's very good, Sunil.
Thank you.
And my question is, what are the system calculations we need to practice for this DevOps course?
Okay. Okay. You're talking about your personal laptop configuration is required.
Yes, correct. And also, actually, I'm using Windows 7. So, is it suitable for practice, or I need to upgrade more version? I mean, higher version.
Okay. You don't need to upgrade. Windows 7 laptop is more than enough. Okay. And
Okay.
any configuration, even 8 GB RAM is also enough. But you will not install these tools on your personal laptop, Keshav Rao. Okay.
Okay.
So whether your laptop is Windows laptop or Mac laptop does not make any difference. Whether it is 8 GB memory or your laptop is 16 GB RAM does not make any difference, because all the DevOps tool, we install it on AWS.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
whether your laptop is Windows or Mac, whether your laptop is 4 GB memory or 8 GB memory does not make a difference, because all these tools we will be practically working on AWS cloud. It does not matter. Okay. Basic laptop is enough.
Okay. Windows is also working fine, right?
Yes, it works fine.
And one more question: what will we get at the end of this session? I mean, what are the and the videos and all, right?
So you get, so every day I'll be using PowerPoint slides. Okay.
Okay.
You'll get access to the PowerPoint slides. I'll be using notes.
Okay.
You will be access to the notes. You'll have access to the notes. Notes will have the commands which I've executed, all the examples, all the commands, whatever I have executed. I'll be sharing that notes to you so that you can use that notes as a reference. Every session is recorded. Okay. And you'll have access to the recordings. You cannot download the recording, Keshav.
Okay.
Just play the recording, and it is lifetime access.
Okay.
You'll
So
have
thanks.
lifetime access to the recordings. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
And you get a course completion certificate from our organization. Okay. And you get a sample resumes also, so which helps you to create your own resume for DevOps in there.
Okay, sir. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Vinay Kumar.
Oh, sorry. It's unfortunate.
Okay. No problem. Please drop your hand once you are done with your question. Ganesh Rout.
Hi Sunil, how are you?
I'm doing good, Ganesh. How are you doing?
I'm also fine. I was just wondering that I've been working on Windows, okay? So I have gone through DevOps courses online. So, but I see everything is on Linux only. So how feasible it will be for me?
Doesn't matter. These tools, if we will be installing in Linux, but even though you're from Windows administration background, am I right, Ganesh?
Yes.
Okay, you belong to operations team. Even though these tools can be installed on any operating system, Ganesh, it can be installed on AWS, Linux, or it can be installed on Windows. Does not make any change in the behavior. Okay, but generally these tools are installed on Linux environments. But that will help you even though you're a Windows administrator, because you belong to operations team. That will help you to how exactly we can perform configurations, or you can perform deployments using the software development, using the tool called Jenkins. So that's will help you. Operating system does not make a difference. Okay. One more final call before closing. Yes, Manikanta. Any questions, Manikanta? You will be on mute by default. You have to unmute and talk. Yes, Upa.
Good morning, Sunil.
Good morning.
Any prerequisites for this course? Like, do we need to be strong in AWS, or that will
There
be
is
covered
no prerequisite. The only basic prerequisite is Linux.
Oh, so AWS things will be covered here, right? Whatever.
The only prerequisite is Linux, and the AWS knowledge which is required for DevOps. Okay, I will be giving it to you. Okay. So even though you are completely new to AWS, let's say you are zero in AWS, okay, but still you can enroll for this course and you will understand all the tools what I will be learning. But eventually after DevOps, I strongly recommend to learn AWS also. Okay. In the current industry, if you want, every DevOps professional should have a good understanding about the cloud platform. Okay. So right now, even though you're zero in AWS, you'll understand all these tools, not a problem. But along with this DevOps course, I recommend you to learn exclusively AWS course also.
Thank you. Got it.
Thank you. Alivelu. Any questions? Pranay.
Hi, sir. Good
Yeah.
morning.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, Pranay. Please proceed.
I have 7 years gap after completing my engineering. So can I apply as a fresher on DevOps?
No, you cannot apply as a fresher, okay, because you are not passed out in the year 2023. Okay, so people who are 2022 passed out, 23 passed out, they are called as freshers. But what you can do, you can project experience, Pranay. Okay, you have a gap. This gap you have project experience. Once you are perfect in subject, if you are strong in the knowledge, you mentioned 3 years of experience in your resume. Having acquiring both the skills, AWS and DevOps, once you perfectly understand and practice whatever we are providing, you will clear the interview. Technical rounds you can easily clear, no doubt. Okay.
Thank you.
So my dear friends, so this is all what we have planned for today's session. I hope you have enjoyed the session. The next session will be tomorrow. Same time, like how we have started. It starts at 6 a.m. in India. Okay. It starts at 6 a.m. in India. So where we'll continue. So what's our plan for tomorrow? As I told you, the prerequisite for DevOps is Linux. We'll get started with Linux. So we will be creating a Linux environment on AWS. Very important. We'll be creating a Linux machine on AWS. We'll get connected to the Linux machine, and we start with the Linux commands, because the prerequisite for DevOps professional is we should be comfortable with Linux environments also. In tomorrow we will be getting started with the Linux operating system. So that's our plan for tomorrow. Stay tuned for tomorrow's session. The link is the same. Link does not change. Using the same link how you have joined today, you can join for tomorrow's session. Okay. If you want to get enrolled for the class, you can visit to the website logiclabstech.com. Okay. Anyways, first couple of sessions, first 3 to 4 sessions are the demo sessions where you can experience. In case if you want to enroll, yes, you can enroll by selecting the courses, and then go to upcoming batches, and this is what we have started, the AWS DevOps. By now, when you click on this, you'll be directed to batch number 10, and from here you can buy now. The course fee is 5,900. And one more important point: some of the participants are not having the WhatsApp group link. Okay, so please join the WhatsApp group to get the updates about this particular batch. If you're already in the WhatsApp group of batch 120, please do not join. For the participants who are not in the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group of this particular batch using the WhatsApp group which I'm just posting in the chat box, which I just posted in the chat box now, so that you get the updates exclusively for this particular training. Yes, Julius.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if the Python class is already going on or is still to begin.
Python is starting today. Okay. 1 minute. Python is starting today. As you can see in the upcoming batches, I am the instructor for Python. I'm starting today at evening 5:30 in India. That will be tomorrow morning for you. Okay. So please go to this URL, logiclabstech.com, and then if you want to get the Zoom link for attending the Python sessions, you can get it from the site. You can get it from the site. You can also join using the WhatsApp group. Okay.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Julius. Thank you all, my dear friends. I hope you have enjoyed the session. See you tomorrow where we'll start getting started with Linux. So that's our plan for tomorrow's session. Have a good time. Thank you very much.